Hello, folks. Welcome back to Wayfarer VCV Rack Patches. I'm your host, Dr. Lawrence W. Moore of the Wayfarer Project. In this episode, we are going to be looking at some of the approaches one can take in VCV Rack when trying to pay some homage to the sound of those early electro-acoustic instruments. In the live series that I've just begun in the past few weeks, called Earworms, I've been taking a look, along with my guest panel, at some of the early innovations in electroacoustic and electronic music. Many of these early instruments were truly electroacoustic instruments, where there was acoustic properties to the instruments that helped give the sound its unique quality. And so we'll be talking about that a little bit as we work on a little sound tonight, and perhaps just to give you some inspiration in your own instrument making and patch making for adding some extra elements to give it that kind of older um, sound that we might hear in some of the older recordings of the Theremin or the Onde Martenot. And as we go along in the series, I'll be including some of those inspirations I picked up from looking at the past, the history of electronic and electroacoustic music. So, if you haven't already, please check out the Earworms live streams. We stream every Sunday, and 7:15 is the start time in Eastern U.S. time. I know that's quarter past midnight on the UK, but um, catch us on the recordings that I do keep up after the streams. And for anyone else in the U.S., it's pretty much afternoon to early evening across the country. So it'd be great to have folks join us live. We have a few that do join us in the chat, and we have some great conversations there. So check that out. Check out one of the recordings and see if you can make it live sometime. So without further ado, actually, let me show you a little example of what I put together for this episode. Get on my headphones here. And then, as is customary in this episode, we will basically, after taking a listen to it, I will show you how to build it and talk about some of the principles in the building of this sound so that, it makes, shall we say, a bit of sense. And you can use it in your own work. All right, so anyway, I have an instrument before me that sounds a little bit like this. So we will talk about, the way in which I use the spring reverb and a plate reverb here and how that influences the overall sound. And we will also take a listen to, I've been experimenting with a little bit of noise that would be in addition to the sound. And as we build this patch, we'll look at that a little bit and maybe see if we can include noise in the version that we make together. So in any case, we'll be taking a look at the design of this instrument and doing all that sort of beautiful stuff that we do in these episodes here on Wayfarer VCD Rack Patches. Let's roll the theme and get started. Okay, so we're going to be starting the way I like to start in the series, at least at this point in time, with a Mind Meld 8-channel mixer, the aux extension for it, so we can add effects Basically, right now I have a Surge XT Reverb 2 hooked up. It's on a plate reverb in there called Silver Plate, or actually, I don't think it is at this point. But we're going to put that in. And then over here, I have a parametric EQ that comes with the Mind Meld set here, and two Squinky Labs compressors in line so that the inserts from these channels basically go through all the channels of the parametric EQ and all of these compressor channels. So I basically have compression and EQ on every channel. That's just the way I like to build sounds. Of course, this sound can be used without the mixer and stuff like this. So you could actually build it without it. And uh, I I will see by the end of this how much I do with these and can inform you, what you can do about adding that sort of thing without having to have the whole set of modules here. This is just basically my workstation. So we're going to start off with a couple of MIDI modules. One of the MIDI modules is this, your standard CV in from MIDI to CV. And then we're also going to have a continuous controller input here, MIDI CC to CV. We're only going to use one controller knob, but and I guess you don't even have to implement it, but I kind of like it, and I'll explain it when I get to it. Our VCO, or oscillator at the heart of this thing, is going to be this oscillator from Bafaco. It's in fact called Even VCO. And I just like the sound of it. I usually put this one click down an octave because it seems to come out an octave higher than what like every other module that I basically call up comes out like. Yeah, it's always like an octave higher than the others. So I put it down so I don't have to transpose on the keyboard. So we are going to add a little bit of vibrato to this. So I am going to use an LFO from VCV Rack. And in the signal flow, I am going to use a VCA from VCV Rack to control the level of the LFO. One other element I'm going to put for this is a slew. Just type SLEW. And if you have the Bafaco, they're free. Series of modules. One of them is a slew, which is going to help us out with sound immensely. I'm going to hook up the oscillator, but put the fader down on the mixer so we don't have to hear it until we can really control it. Put its audio here. And then what I'm going to do is make sure these are set to my MIDI. Keyboard, that is. And I'm going to take the pitch, volt per octave, and hook it up to its corresponding input on the Bafaco oscillator. There we go. And now if we want to control this sound, I am hooking it up to a triangle wave. I guess I could explain that choice a little bit later when we get to the sound of this. And envelope gate, I would like to use actually a Bafaco one. I'm going to type ADSR. I think it comes up first when you type. All right, and we're going to hook up its gate out to the mixer's volume level CV input. And then we're going to take a gate input straight from MIDI to CV module right here. Okay, so now we can basically play a note and it's safe. Raise this fader. Okay, and actually, the envelope's pretty close. Now, notice how there is a decay portion here. If you don't want this kind of accent on the sound, just pull the decay all the way down and put your sustain all the way up. Leave the release and the attack right about here. I don't really want a fast. Got rid of that tinny sound there a little bit. All right, there we go. Now, the triangle wave I'm using because I don't want something thick with harmonics. I'm thinking of like what I've heard from, Theremin, which was a sine wave, and a little bit of an Onde Martenot sound, which could actually, over the course of its time period of use, I had like 7 iterations and could do multiple waveforms past a certain point. But I want a little thickness on it because even if it was emitting sine tone, the speakers that it had added some overtones to it. I want to use a triangle wave for that, but I think I could attenuate it a bit. Let's look for a VCF here. And what I've used in preparing this ahead of time was this one right here from RPJ. Feel free to use your own low pass filter as you wish. But don't be afraid to listen to different ones and hear what they sound like. I like that this one does have a drive on it, and I like the sound of it. So I am going to put our audio into low pass filter, take it out, there. Is frequency, and then raise the drive. There we go. I think I'm happy with that. I'm going for more of the Onde Martenot kind of timbre, a little more harmonic flavor than the Theremin. And then, let's add our vibrato here. We'll talk about the slew after that. Let's do the vibrato first. Basically, what I'm going to do is hook up the sine wave here. Use it as a control signal to the FM input on our oscillator here. So it sounds kind of like that. But yeah, that's why I have the VCA here. So we can go into the VCA, out from it, and we get something like that. Now I want to be able to control the rate and the amount, the mod wheel. I'm going to hook this up to MW here. I'm going to turn up the mod wheel. And let's set this to the rate. That would be the fastest. And then you need to set this here, the regulation of the FM input, a little bit to the right of center there, so that it is actually, as the mod wheel comes in, it does speed up the sound. But in experimenting with it beforehand, I found that if you keep this like a little bit low and just find the max with this, it gives you a little bit more play with your mod wheel. For instance, I have it down right now. Now I'm going to turn it up. Okay, maybe a little bit too fast. So let's take this. Put it there. little vibrato that would be reminiscent of the theremin, although the Onde Martenot could do vibrato too. If you'd like to know more about these instruments, the live streams did get involved in exploring them. Their design, their impact, performers, composers, films. Basically, Earworms 2 is about the theremin, and Earworms 3 is the Onde Martenot. So, let me see here. I think if I make this even a little bit lower. Make this the fastest I want it to be. There we go. As I move the mod wheel, I get the rates that I feel are good for this. Now maybe the amount here going up a little too high. I can basically limit here. All right, so we got that. Now, one thing is you may want the ability to be able to scoop from note to note, and you can do that with a slew. So I am going to put our pitch line in to the slew from Bifaco and take it out and plug that right into this Bifaco, even oscillator. So now when the slews come up, they will basically give you a scoop rising and falling, because there's two of them. And basically both will be controlled by the input over here. I'm going to use a controller input so I could have this effect on or off, or how much of it I want, based on a knob that I have on my keyboard. So on my keyboard I have a knob here that I want to use. And so I'm going to tap it here, move the knob a little bit, and it found it as controller 21. So now that if I turn the knob all the way up, I want to put this at the level of slew that I want. So I'm going to play two notes back and forth. So now you hear it's bending between the two notes. When I play another pitch, nope, it is not. What's going on here? I hook both of these up to this knob. Okay, there it is. That's pretty slow. I don't even have the knob all the way up. Put it down here. Now I'm going to turn the knob all the way up. Basically, how long of a slide do I want between these notes? And right now I'm not hearing them, so all right, hold on. This was working out beforehand. Let me just turn the knob all the way down. I think I gotta set these at kind of like almost a lower level. When I turn the knob up, the actual slew amount goes far above this. There we are with the knob all the way down. So now when I turn it up, that's about halfway. And then what you got to do is hold the knob and kind of turn it down. much of a slew you want, like over how much time should it gradually move to the other pitch, glide in a way. I was trying to keep in theme with the Bafako there, but well, ahead of time, I liked it. Don't like it as much now. Let me see here. The blue. All right. Let me look at the VCV one. That is in something called process module. And let's look at this real quick. Here's our input. And there's a gate that can turn this on and off. There's a slew amount. I'm going to give this a try here. Let's pop this in between here in the signal. So I'll just take you up here. Blue. I'll adjust the knob as I work on it. And what's going on here? The pitch in here, and the output is going to come out. Let's try slew for now, and then I'll try glide afterwards. Knob down. I turn the knob down, so now it's jumping from note to note. About halfway up. About. Maybe I could turn this down a little bit more here. That's with the knob all the way up. Now all the way down. Halfway. I'm liking the yeah. Blue is working better, I think, with this module. So we'll take you out. And pop you in line. There we go. So now, this is something that, you know, would make it sound more Theremin-like, as well as Onde Martenot-like, if the Onde Martenot is being played with its string. Now, we haven't gotten into the electroacoustic aspect yet. All right, but anyway, this could be played with more, I'm sure, but in the interest of keeping the video from being too long, let us soldier on a bit. Make some space here for a spring reverb. I was using the one from Bafako before, and it seemed to be fine. So let's continue with it now. And what I'm going to do is basically take the output here and put it through the effect. Instead of using it as an aux send, I'm putting it in line. I guess because here I'm thinking of like a speaker that the instrument is coming out of. And in that case, it's really kind of part of the instrument. Multiple instruments aren't going to be using it. Each would have its own kind of set to how you want that kind of speaker situation sound. Now, in the Onde Martenot, you had 3 different speaker types. Tone speaker, a metallic speaker that was kind of like this metal gong in a box that vibrated. It also could have some punctuated articulations on it. And the third one was called the palm. Basically, like almost a leaf-shaped speaker that was almost like the body of a guitar, except leaf-shaped, and it had strings across its tone hole where the sound would come out, and the strings would vibrate and add to the sound, kind of like a spring reverb. Now, the spring reverb, the way it works, I guess I could leave it here like this, but since we're coming in input 1, turn it up here. So this is imitating like vibrating springs. That's close to metal strings. And then let us turn this up a little bit. Our release is a little quick. There we go. Now the overall sound level is a little low. I'm going to make up for it with this compressor here. It's already set to channel 1. Take off the bypass. Pull it down a little bit here. Don't really want to compress too much, just want to use it output gain. Decompress a little bit there so I can turn this up more. There we go. That sounds pretty good. Now, so that kind of gives you almost a boxy speaker-like sound. What I'm probably going to do is pull out another one of those and go for the metal plate. Reverb 2 from Surge XP. And so let's pop output into here. And this is just a mono instrument, so I'm going to take the output from the Surge into here. Now, so here I'm going to look for a plate. We do have, using beforehand, silver plate. I turned off the mix, turned down the mix. Now these speakers will be going in parallel if it were the Onde Martenot. Well, one thing that can be done is stereo. I don't think I could be dry one side of it. But actually having one go into the other isn't really a problem. I'm liking the sound. I think I could just use a little more dampening on the higher frequency. And less on the low, because this metallic gong speaker with the metal plate in it basically was emphasizing the low frequencies. don't need it to be that wide. But we are sounding rather distant. All right. It's actually sounding pretty good. This is definitely a series, folks, that you want to hear on headphones or good speakers because there is fine tuning involved. It sounds a little dull. I could put a little air on it with the parametric EQ here. Here we're on channel 1. Go. Okay. Now, one thing that might also brighten it is I was talking about having a little noise on it before. Also, maybe the filter. Come up a little bit. Now, the frequency of the cutoff on the filter is not being controlled at this moment, so let's fix that so it adjusts throughout the range. That may sound a little bit duller, but that sounds more like I want. Now you can also decide if you want the envelope before the reverb, in which case you would have like a VCA here. In fact, we might want to do that. So rather than it controlling over here, we do kind of need that as well in this kind of design. Well, no. Here, let's go with the VCA from good old VCV. And if you're making this without the mixer, it's free anyway. Although you will need something to boost signal the way this compressor is doing. And if you want to work with the filter more to get this kind of like added brightness, you can. If I were to take this instrument out of here and use it on itself, I would want all the modules to give me the sound that I'm looking for. In which case, I may want to do that. Let's initialize this so we're not getting anything out here. There we are, initialized. There, that might be fine like that. I was doing that beforehand just to try and give my ear what it wanted. But yeah, the design should be something where when I take this instrument out, I don't have to sound the way it should. So take you here, go in there, and we're going to use here, right there on that. So now this would work independent of the mix. Zoom out here. Another thing that would be actually in place of this, let's use the mixer from, it's a 4-channel mixer from VCV. Right here. What we can do, audio out from here and put it into the audio out from here. Take the audio going into this VCA. We're going to put it in well, hold on a second. Put it back where it was. Take you off of it. We're going to put it in the spring reverb. Take the out from the spring reverb, go into channel 1 here. We're going to take our gate and put it on the master control here of the mixer. Then we're going to take our audio output here and hook it up to the mixer on channel 2. So then I can mix how much of the sound through plate I'm getting and how much through call it the spring reverb. So we have channels 1 and 2 right here on this mixer. The overall out will go here. Or if you're not using the mixer, I mean the mind meld mixer down here, you can use just going straight to audio out. There we go. I'm playing a little bit, but not down. Well, one thing here, this input also needs to receive from filter. So past that. Here, here, here. Let's move the gate right now. Here. Okay. Probably not getting our mixer. New one that we're using, this 4-channel, is going down. See something here. This up here. Yeah, we're hearing it. I know why. We're going into the CV inputs instead of the audio. Now, make the metallique a little bit lower in level. There we go. Getting a little more dry sound through. You can mix things a little bit better here. Yes. Yes, indeed. Okay. So there we go. That's a better overall design. Hmm. Now this is giving an overall envelope. Be honest with you, I don't want this envelope to be governing the whole thing. What I'd like it to do, and this is going to use an extra module, but the way the sound is coming, I would like it to affect through a VCA here the amplitude control over the whole sound before it goes to reset. I'm going to take, oh, for crying out loud. All right, here's the low pass output. There are two things plugged into it, so I'm going to plug them here. Now the low pass output, which is the end of the signal chain point, is going to go in here, and then gate will control it here. So this doesn't affect the reverb tail. The reverb tails can decay according to their own design. Now that being said, I might want to say, for example, increase the decay time on the metallique, the metal plate reverb. There's one really hanging out there. Let's see which one it is. Turn this one all the way down. Yeah, it's the spring. This is not affecting it. This is almost like a level. But we don't want to crackle. Mix these together. We're distorting still. Probably here. Okay, let's add one more component to the sound, one I didn't have to begin with. In the meantime, let me save this to a new name. I don't want to overwrite my standard mixer setting. Let's see. This is going to go into making. There we go. Here, but I'm going to put a B behind the number. This is episode 11 of this series. There we go. B. Oops, there I got that. No, I didn't. There we go. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is mix together two signals. They're both going to go into the filter. Maybe not. Maybe this noise I'm going to add. I'm going to go outside of it. This is inspired by the noise of the strings on the Onde Martenot. As in videos where I You can hear it being played through the palm speaker. There's a bit of a rattly effect to it. And I need to dirty up this sound a little bit. So I'm going to put the macro oscillator 2 here from Mutable Instrument into its filtered noise mode. And have another little, this one from the pocket. It's right here. Simple knob. So everything signal so far coming out of the low pass is going to go here. I'm going to see now whether I want it. If I want to filter them in addition to the filtering the oscillator is going to be doing. Oh, yeah, that's spring right out a bit. Be nice to have a second envelope over that. So it can rise out longer beyond the first envelope, but still have some shape going on. Out. It's going to sound like crap at first until I shape it. I'm not hearing it. Hold on just. Well, I have it plugged into 3, 2. Still not. There we go. Now let's have its pitch change with what note I'm playing. Then I'll lock it in tuning wise. It's a little strong. Yeah, I want it to be a little grainy. There. There. Not sounding so staticky anymore. Turning this all the way up. Now lower register. It does. It's standing out as pitched too much. There we go. I like it in the lower registers. Forbidden Planet, baby. Maybe back off on the cutoff frequency here a bit. That subtle sound in the back from the filter noise is nice. Okay, so this could be played around with for hours, but those are things you might want to implement and try out and so forth. It'd be nice to dirty up this sound a bit more. But I'm going to keep working on stuff like this, and I will keep you posted about my successes and failures and all the like, and see if we can get closer and closer to some of these vintage electroacoustic sound. So until next time, I wish that you all be well, take care, and stay acoustic, perhaps? Why not?